Greetings. My name is Gerald Ray Howell. I am the designer, developer, and producer of Key Trax and Key Trax II by the Key Wizard. In today's video, we will show you how to begin using Key Trax II from the initial starting of the program through creating a simple master key system. Here you can see Key Trax II starting for the first time. Initially, you will want to read this as it contains important signing on information. We will continue and respond to the prompt that we have indeed read how to log on and will now do so. The first time you start Key Trax II, because there are no existing data stored in the program, we need to set up the information for our company. We can put our business name, the company address, and additional information. In institutional and commercial settings, there may be a key issuance and carry policy set up by your company when signing keys out to employees. To this end, you can compose your company's policy and type it here for printing on the key sign-off forms. Also, if you prefer, you can load your own custom logo to print on reports instead of the Key Wizard's Tracky logo, which prints in the upper left corner of reports. Once you've recorded your desired information, click on the Save Info button, and Key Trax II will take you to the logon screen where you can then access the program. Now we are taken to the Create a Master Key System page. Since there are no systems to choose from at this time, we need to create the first system. The first thing to do is to provide a name that we can remember that relates to this particular system. So here I will use Faith Gathering Church as our first example. In this system, we are master keying a church that uses simple 5-pin household style locks. They only have about 20 doors with keyable locks and only a few levels of access control at this time. The pastor will carry the Grand Master. The assistant pastor will have a key to his office and be able to open everything maintenance can, and the maintenance person will have a master over all but the pastor's office, assistant pastor's office, the secretary's office, and the house. There are 6 classrooms, each with its own key, and there is a house on church property that is used by the church for various reasons, including putting up homeless families temporarily. So it will need to be rekeyable, but still work with the master key when that becomes necessary. There are also storage rooms for furniture and supplies and a kitchen dining room area. The locks are Wiser brand, and so we will set up Key Trax II for Wiser. The first time you set up a particular lock manufacturer, Key Trax II allows you to enter the pin sizes that you use in your shop. Some pin kits only use a generic value of 0 through 9, but others might use letters, number groups, or other measurements. In America, you generally have a choice between 3,007 inch, 5,007 inch, or metric sizes. So at the Key Wizard, we let you enter the values you have decided to use in your shop. That way, nothing has to be converted later. You simply see what pin size you need for each manufacturer you use. Some lock companies use a short size pin for their smallest pin number, where other companies use a long pin for their smallest pin number. By entering the pin sizes here, you can help prevent confusion between these and standard systems. Here, since we are using Wiser and a 5/1000th universal pinning kit, we will enter the pin sizes for Wiser. Even though we will not use it in this system, we may in some future Wiser system need to use the 0. So we will enter the value for it as well, starting with 0.165. Then for number 2, 185. Then 0.205, 0.220, 0.240, 0.260, 0.275, 0.295, 0.310, and 330. Because Wiser specifications use a thickness of 35 thousandths of an inch for a master wafer of 2 A single cut wafer would only be 17.5 thousandths of an inch thick. So for our top pins, the smallest in a Weiser lock is 35. There is no master wafer of 1. 3 is 0.055, then 0.070, 0.090, 0.110, 0.125, 0.145, and 0.160. And finally, we select Save. Now in the future, we do not need to set up Weiser lock for our pinning kit again, unless we change the type of pinning kit we are using. When designing your master key system, we need to design first the minimum and then the maximum pin size that we will use in this system. While some systems are limited by design, with only pin sizes from 1 to 7, others use 1 through 9, 1 through 8, or 0 through 9. Next, we select the safety factor. The safety factor is how deep a cut can be next to adjoining cuts. In most cases, a safety of 7 is perfect, so that a 1 cut is not found next to a 9 cut, or a 0 is not next to an 8. But you may need to adjust this for your system as it relates to the angle of cut of your key cutter or original key. Next, we select the desired increment. This is the minimum difference between one pinnable key pattern and the next in the final system. The standard increment of 2 is used by most systems. If you wanted to create a key system and not use the master key, such as in an apartment building with limited lock options and too many locks to safely master key, you could use an increment of 1 and produce every possible pinning pattern. But do not use this type of system as a master keyed property. There would be too many sloppy patterns that would open with the wrong key once wear and tear begin to take effect in the locks. But it is a great way to track how the locks are keyed, when a pattern has been used too recently, and to maintain individual security for each tenant. So in 90% of all master key systems, you will use a 2 for the increment. Next, we choose a standard lock system, as that is the type we are working on today, and create or allow Key Trax II to create our master key for us. When we choose a particular master pattern, Key Trax II calculates how many patterns created will be within the safety factor and can safely be used as change keys or pinnable patterns. Each element we change on this page can affect the total usable change keys produced. This is generally not a concern, as if you were working on a system that needed a lot of changes, you can simply change to a more complex lock system, or use 0 and 9 on our minimum and maximum. If we wanted to create a smaller system, we could use 3 and 7 as our minimum and maximum pin sizes. And as you can see, on large system, changing the cuts in the master can affect the number of change keys that are produced that are actually usable. Now we are ready to start laying out our basic master key system. With such a small system, there is little need to map the property in Key Trax II and record each key holder and such. But I have created a floor plan to provide a visual aid in why we lay out our system the way we do. We will provide a much more intensive master key system with a much more complex layout at a later time, but for now, we just want to use the base master key creating and layout system. We will create a simple master key system here, only 5 pins, a minimum pin size of 1, and a maximum of 9. Even though with Weiser we could use a minimum of 0 and a maximum of 9, we do not need that large of a system, and eliminating the 0 cut is not a bad idea when possible. We will use a safety factor of 7. As you can see, with such limited options, we do not create a very large matrix, but we do not need one for this size job. Once we have selected a master key we like, we click on Create, and we are taken to the Open Master System page. Here we start with the Grand Master. This will fit every key in the system, and this system is large enough that we do not have to use every page. So we will simply choose a random page to begin our layout. Here we go, page 7. We select the Grand Master here and label it. We will put letters on the keys to identify them, but we don't want to use anything that would indicate that it is a master level key, so we will call this key by the letters PK for Pastor's Key. As we navigate through Key Trax II, we can see the label we have given to the Grand Master over here on the right side of the page view. That information will show up on every change key selected, and as we add submasters, we will see those labels here as well. Also, you will notice that as we select different cells in the page view, the colors of the various cells change in relation to the selected cell. Once we have added labels to our patterns, the icon representing that pattern changes, so we know we have initiated that pattern cell as either a key pattern, a lock pinning pattern, or both. Selecting the Legend button at the bottom of the page shows you the relationship of each pattern and color combination. So once you have learned these icons, you can instantly recognize the relationship of any pattern in the key system to every other pattern in the system in single page sections. Once we have indicated the master key, we want to start laying out our other doors. We have the kitchen, which we will label KD, and we have the entry doors. We will call those E. Then we have the restroom storage area for cleaning supplies. And finally, each classroom gets its own key. C1, C2, C3, C4, C5, and C6. The cleaning person needs a key that fits all of those. So we will give that person the JK, or janitor's key, which we assign to the area master that fits all these keys only. Next, we have the book storage, the supplies storage, and finally here we put furniture storage. Finally, the maintenance person needs to open all of these doors, so we will assign the page master as MT for the maintenance areas. Since we need to be able to rekey the house without affecting anyone but whoever uses the house, we will put that on page 8 using HS for that and key all the house locks to one key. As people leave, the house can be easily rekeyed and a new key issued. The rest of the church will be on page 6. Here we will put the pastor's office, PO, the assistant pastor's office, AP, and the secretary's office, SO. To pin the locks, we simply select the change key pattern we will pin the lock to and press the pinning button. Key Trax II displays the pinning, both the top and bottom pins, and if you have recorded your pin sizes, you can see that below each pin, eliminating the need to keep looking elsewhere for pin sizes. In Key Trax II, the bottom pins are shown at the bottom and the top pins are shown on top. We are now ready to pin the locks, cut and mark the keys, and collect our money. Thank you for watching.